Wow.
Everybody, we are back. It is Taped on Live, your favorite podcast, favorite channel, favorite everything. We are back. You already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also, follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at BD Williams 18 for BD. Right? So make sure you guys follow us there and check us out on Twitter. And also Panda Supplements. Use TDL for 35% off. Make sure you go there. Discount code. Use TDL for 35% off. All right. So we were prepared to do a review show for you today, but we are now having a Derek Carr reaction. Derek Carr has been benched. So it's definitely changed up a little bit of the review a little bit, just a tiny bit, just a little bit of a screw into it. You know what I'm saying? It's but huge aftermath, huge decision made by Mark Davis and Josh McDaniels, and who knows if Mark Davis or Josh McDaniels made that decision, but they're saying Mark made it. Josh is look a little weird going up on there, but that has happened, and now we have to kind of figure out what they're going to do. And we got 2 games left that we still got to review, which is going to be interesting for me. But BD might be a little different. But how you feeling, BD?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the whole conversation about the Raiders right now is about Derek Carr and his future. Playoffs are out of the question right now. The news is that he's being benched. He's not going to play for the remainder of the season. And the speculation around that is because of some kind of like contract thing. And if he gets hurt, and, it seems like it's given the team an out in terms of what is guaranteed money for him, in 2023. So, if that's the case and the Raiders are posturing themselves to like get Derek Carr out of there, right? I guess that's to like buy McDaniels another year, essentially, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely to buy McDaniels another year. I mean, McDaniels is definitely taking. People could say Derek Carr is being the scapegoat, but McDaniels is definitely having the job. He definitely has the reins. Mark Davis believes in Josh McDaniels. He brought Josh McDaniels over here, so you knew he was going to stay. I mean, already when they were 2-7, what he said that he's doing a great job and he believes him. So, but obviously, Mark Davis, there's been rumors about Mark Davis not liking Derek Carr and wanting to move on him for a while. So he came in and he made that decision. It's gonna be interesting to see how this goes forward with how the rest of this team is built. But it's just interesting the dynamic of everything that came in. With Josh McDaniels. I mean, the plan that he had to use for this offense, did it really factor in? They got really vanilla after a while, and and just how he used Derek Carr was just kind of idiotic in my opinion. So, I mean, it was interesting how he is as a coach and what they want to do going forward and what they want to look at for a quarterback or what the decision is. But obviously, Mark Davis has a lot of hands in this, right? So it's gonna be interesting who they pick, who they decide to go after. I mean, if they want to go after Tom Brady, I mean, that would probably be the best fits for to save Josh McDaniels, because I mean he hasn't really been successful with anybody else. And I mean, there's already you read Mike Silver's article. There's already guys talking about how the offense is lacking things and lacking improvisation and lacking adjustments, and guys even talk about guys calling out some of the plays. So it's gonna be interesting how this team goes forward. I've been seeing Dagger all year, so that would make sense to me. And how the Steelers played them kind of can. That whole Mike Silver article basically was the Steelers game plan. So, which we might, we're going to go over that a little bit today, but especially because I think it's a little bit fitting. I know I'm going a little long, BD, sorry, but I think it's a little fitting that, Josh McDaniels, the way the Steelers played them, kind of is going to show how some of these teams are going to play them going forward, because it was interesting how they kind of attack their tendencies instead of attacking the players. So that was,
yeah.
like,
I mean,
yeah. Go ahead.
but I mean, so what you're saying here is we're getting to a criticism of McDaniels. If McDaniels is the Raiders head coach going forward, the question is really comes down to his ability to, I don't know, get out of his own way and not just do the things that he always does. And perhaps, yeah, like going back to the discussion about him potentially, joining forces with Tom Brady.
Mhm.
You know, Tom Brady wants to get the ball out quick, and he wants to throw the ball short, and he wants to throw the ball to backs, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He has that command of the offense where he can get to those, and he can, just say something and just say one thing, and that's easy at his disposal, right? So I'm sure there's an element of McDaniels like attempting to empower Derek Carr to do the same thing, but it's like Derek Carr's like first time with the coach and first time attempting these things, and at the same time trying to feed his new wide receiver. So that means not checking the ball down and doing those things that make this offense like a little bit more viable. So yeah, I mean, like if that's what McDaniels needs, if McDaniels needs a guy to run his offense that's been running it for like almost like 20 years. If that's what McDaniels needs, then he's not really that great of a coach. Okay. So, and you could tell there was many points, especially in those crushing, come from behind losses where the teams, stormed to a victory when the Raiders were up. You could tell there was a lot of miscommunications, guys not knowing where they were supposed to be on offense. And that was that became a theme in a lot of those games in the middle of the season. So that's on McDaniels, right? Like that's going to be on McDaniels. So if they're saying, hey, Derek Carr has to go, Derek Carr, Raiders need a new direction, that's fine. I'm fine with that if the Raiders can hit a lottery ticket here. I mean, for every Patrick Mahomes, there's a lot more busts. There's a lot more guys like Christian Ponder, right, and the Hackenbergs, right, that come out in the first round. There's plenty of those guys, and we forget their names because like they flame out of the NFL, but there's an equal amount of those guys. So I know that everyone thinks getting a rookie quarterback is like a slam dunk, but it's really not. It's really not a slam dunk. Because you're not supposed to miss slam dunks, and the NFL misses these guys a lot, right? Yeah. So anyways, if that's what we're saying, Raiders need to get go in a new direction at quarterback. If that's a veteran, if that's a rookie, whatever, then okay, great. We still need to acknowledge that McDaniels was not good. Like that's cool. I'm fine going. I'm fine getting a new quarterback, but let's not pretend like that's gonna solve all the problems here.
But that's what I'm saying. Like I think a lot of people are taking a victory lap today, but man, it's just interesting how the dynamic working, because even like Devonte Adams, you have to ask yourself, Devonte Adams runs what? He runs like a 4.6. He had to come in here and play a different role that he's ever played. Okay, a different role than he's ever played at wide receiver. Okay, he's playing a deep route. Randy Moss, he literally ran like 3 routes. He ran a fade, he ran a post, and he ran a dig at the last from like week 4 and on. So he wasn't really doing this whole route tree thing that he was doing, over in Green Bay. And the reason for that is because Josh McDaniels really didn't have a plan for him when he came in there, right? Didn't have a really good plan for him, how to use him, how to move him around. So they had to put him somewhere where they knew he would get some targets and kind of turn him into a different wide receiver. But he's 31, so he's going to be 31, right? How long is he going to want to keep doing that role, or is Josh McDaniels going to wizard something up and he's going to finally use him how he should coming into the offseason? That's going to be interesting how Devonte looks at that too, into his role in these offense, because they try to make him Randy Moss. He did it pretty damn well, but I think as they went along, I mean, he has to win deep by route running. So he has to set things up, and that takes a lot of timing with Derek Carr. And sometimes their timing was off because he's trying to set a guy up to beat them deep, because he just can't run past people like Randy Moss did. I mean, Randy Moss, he ran a 4.3. You press him, it doesn't matter. He's just going to keep running. He's going to put his hand up, and you just throw it. He's going to keep running. It's Randy Moss, right? So, Devonte Adams is not that guy. So it's gonna be interesting to see how he sees himself in this offense too going forward, because he's not Randy Moss. He's more Justin Jefferson. And he's gonna be like, maybe I want to be used like how Justin Jefferson is being used over there with Kevin O'Connell. So, we'll see how that goes. And but it was a lot of that with coaching, and a lot of that with how they mixed everything up. And he just wasn't ready to put all these guys together, right? And I never thought somebody would make me miss Gruden, and that was interesting. I never felt that before. But like I said, like that Mike Silver article, they're talking about guys calling out their concepts and stuff, and you can see it on tape, man. Like the Colts, like Stephon Gilmore was running like Devontae routes for him, because he knew what was coming. Or you would see, the Steelers ones are crazy. I mean, that's why we should show that stuff, because the Steelers stuff is nuts. Some of the stuff that they were doing, and even Mike Tomlin, when he was mic'd up, when Derek Carr threw that last interception, he was like, force him to throw the clear out. We'll get the pick. And some dude was like trolling me online about clear outs and stuff. There's no clear out on the dagger or whatever. But there's
no
Mike
clear
Tomlin.
on the dagger.
There's no clear on the dagger. No, there's no clear on the dagger concept, according to.
I mean, that's how you prove you know nothing about football.
No clear outs ever.
On the
There's no clear outs ever. But like Mike Tomlin is making jokes about how we made them throw the clear out. It's things like that, and those things are going to change. So we'll see. We'll see who they take. It's just I mean, he's never really had a quarterback play well outside of Tom Brady. So we're really hoping for Tom Brady and praying. I mean, it's really hopefully Tom can come save us, even though Tom, in 2017, when he had his little beef with Bill Belichick, he wanted Bill O'Brien. So he wanted Bill O'Brien to come back and be the head coach. Josh McDaniels is there. That's on videotape. You can Google that if you want to, guys. Go ahead, Google that. I mean, I could find it real quick. You know what I'm saying? But that's kind of the funny discussion. A part of this a little bit is like, who's he gonna take? We don't know. It's a wild card. I saw a lot of people saying Tim Tebow won a playoff game. But I guess there'd be cool if we taking it like Stetson Bennett. So I mean, Stetson Bennett, he won 2 national championships. I guess you're cool with that. I guess if you're cool with the whole Tim Tebow thing. So it's gonna be interesting, man. It'll be interesting to see what they do going forward. But I'm not the most excited about Josh McDaniels, I guess, going forward. I feel like I've seen enough. I feel like I've been frauded with his scheme too. I've been. Like, man, you just called dagger and you called levels like all year. And, I had to watch that. And now I don't know who you're going to bring in here. You know what I mean? I don't know who you're going to pick.
This is your guru here? This is
I've been mad about it. I feel like I was watching a fraud. I feel like great run game, though. Great run game designs. Great run game. I'll give him that. Great run game. I think it's more the passing game with him, with his designs and stuff like that, and moving people around. But it'd be interesting to see. Maybe he brings in a new quarterback and that guy does great, But I mean, he doesn't have the track record at this point, with picking a quarterback. I mean, you could, besides Tom Brady, you can look at it. I mean, Sam Bradford had a 61% completion percentage in 2010, right? His rookie year, 60% completion percentage. Josh McDaniels comes in, it's 53%. So you I mean, I know you want to say about Sam Bradford. Sam Bradford is definitely Sam Bradford, but there's just maybe something to that, and I don't know. I mean, even if you look at Brady's numbers overall with him and with Bill O'Brien, I mean, Bill O'Brien, if you 5,000 yards, and Brady had full control of the offense, and then he never hit 5,000 again. Let's just say that. I mean. So there's a lot of things with that, with the dynamic with Josh picking the quarterback, because I feel like a lot of people are just like so comfortable with him. I really feel that, and I don't know if I feel that comfort. I don't feel that comfort. I don't know about you, BD, but I guess it's kind of where we're at with that. Maybe if it was Mike McDaniel instead of Josh McDaniels, I would feel a lot better. But I was like, what? We move over Derek Carr. We got Mike McDaniel picking the guy.
What about Peterson?
Or somebody like that, I don't know. I would feel a lot better if Mike McDaniel was picking the quarterback. Let's just say that. I mean, Mike McDaniel was available too. You could have got Mike McDaniel. Now I'd be like, you know what? Carr's moving on. We got Mike McDaniel. I think he's going to pick a guy that he's going to be able to play around his skill set. But then if Mike McDaniel was here, I mean, he probably, would play it, around. He wouldn't have Derek Carr throwing to his left outside the numbers, which he's been bad for the first 8 years he was here. So I doubt Mike McDaniel would do that either. But
yeah, I mean, the McDaniels, I'm not optimistic about. He didn't show anything. Like, what is the identity of this team besides losing close ones in the end? Like that's all he has stamped onto the Raiders at this point. Nothing like a game changing, nothing innovative on offense, nothing innovative on defense. They're not doing anything where it's like, oh wow, I haven't seen that before, or so it's not like they can hang their hat on anything besides, hey, we're the only team that's ever lost this many close ones or had this many point leads and lost this many in one season. Like, that's all they can say at this point. So I'm not super optimistic. I agree with you. I'm not optimistic about McDaniel's future. And again, if he needs a Hall of Fame quarterback to be just a playoff team, then that's not him. That has nothing to do with him, right? Like if say, and I agree. Like, some people are in the comments, they're saying, hey, Brady knows the truth about McDaniels. I mean, I guess we'll find out. But I agree. Like, if that's what McDaniel, like, say Mark Davis went to McDaniels and was like, hey, what's the problem here? And McDaniels is trying to blame it all on Carr. And Mark Davis goes, okay, fine, but you better get Brady. You better find a way to get Brady. Right?
He said, I brought you here just in case if you needed it, we could get Brady. I brought you
right. Here. Right. So if he can't get that done, right? If after this year, if that's not, because Brady can get out of any contract that he wants and get into any contract that he wants. Let's be honest, he can go play anywhere that he wants, right?
Yeah.
So if McDaniels can make that happen, right, then that would prove, hey, Brady wants to obviously be here, but I feel like it would almost prove the opposite too. Like, if Brady doesn't come to the Raiders, that probably means Brady wants nothing to do with McDaniels, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess it would prove it either way, but we'll see. I think we're getting ahead of ourselves here about that. I mean, let's go back to Derek Carr. Okay. Let's talk about it. Let's be fair. There are things that we can point to with Derek Carr where it's like he struggled in these areas, or he cost the Raiders wins for certain this or that, and obviously the multiple turnover games comes to my mind as being like those obvious instances where we can dissect the play as being one of the reasons why the Raiders lost in those ones. So let's just talk about Carr. Like, what did you see? Where did you see him regress this year as opposed to seasons past?
Yeah, I mean, most of it was accuracy. I mean, accuracy is probably his biggest issue. I mean, that's the main reason why all of this is happening. I mean, his completion percentage went down, and I mean, besides that, I mean, if when when he's playing quarterback, right? There's a lot of things that he does well, but there are things that he doesn't do well, right? And I think something that John Gruden did a lot better than Josh McDaniels is play to Derek Carr's strengths. And I think Josh McDaniels tried to have Derek Carr fit what he thought a quarterback should be able to play. And that's, I don't know how much, that goes into, how you're trying to coach a quarterback. Just usually coaches, when they coach quarterbacks, they try to figure out what their strengths and weaknesses are, and they try to play to those things. But like I said, he had Derek Carr trying to throw outside the numbers. He had to throw to Devonte outside the numbers a lot, right? They threw down the field, intermediate a lot. I mean, there wasn't a lot of short passes that we usually saw from Derek Carr, where even in the West Coast offense that he thrived from, or even thought you would see with Tom Brady. And I don't know how much of that is Tom Brady ignoring the actual concept and just doing whatever he wants. Because in Erhard Perkins, you have a lot of control, but is Derek Carr like only listening to Josh McDaniels in his ear and not doing what he wants? And then Tom Brady's going out there. He's like, he hears the play call. He's like, I don't care. I'm throwing to James White. So you don't know what the dynamic is with that, because McDaniels could call dagger, and Tom Brady was like, that's dumb, and hike me the ball, and I'm going to go somewhere else. That is a possibility that you could do. And I think we started to see Derek Carr do that a little bit as well. It kind of started with the Jags game, where he started just kind of doing other things than what McDaniels actually wanted the progression to go. And I think it kind of took a really head at this game. Like Michael Lombardi called it out on the 3rd and 5, where he ends up throwing the fade, and he had a little chance to hit Waller over the middle. They took a fade and they ended up missing on it. But I mean, that was a little bit what the Steelers did on defense a little bit too. But it has a lot to do with that aspect. But most of it is that they just had him throwing deep all the time, and throwing deep and intermediate, having to hit these digs, and it's just not his game. It's not his game that he was going to be consistent doing that, and it was just going to be ugly from the beginning. And you could see it week 2. I mean, I saw it week 2. Anybody watch my Carfax, I kind of was calling some of those things out that I saw. They kind of thought he was Tom Brady. Derek Carr is Derek Carr. He's not Tom Brady. So now they're like, okay, we need Tom Brady, because I mean, I don't know who else is going to save him at this point, or like, because I'll say this before you tap in, BD, is that the way this offense is, I mean, you need like a 90s quarterback. Like, that's what you need. You need like a quarterback who's going to stand there and play pocket passer, right? So it's going to be interesting to see what they look for, because I don't know how many more like guys are even built like that as quarterbacks. I mean, we want all these mobility guys, and these guys are coming out wanting to run and leave the pockets early. It's gonna be interesting. See how this goes.
Right. I mean, to your points about the ball placement and the concepts from McDaniels and where he wants the ball to go. He wants the ball to go deep, right? He wants the ball to go intermediate and outside the numbers, right? And if that's where the ball is going, I feel like on the outside looking in, that should play to Devonte Adams' strengths, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me because the route tree is so limited, Devonte Adams it's kind of like hindering Devonte Adams' specialty. That's what the problem is.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, because when you watch him in Green Bay, man, he's all over the place. So if you go back and you watch any of the film breakdowns we did, even when they signed him, you go back and watch any of those things I did. Watching what I did against Jalen Ramsey, I mean, he's just moved around. His motion at the snap, there's a lot of things that he's just kind of everywhere, right? So sometimes, yeah, he'd do those fades, right? But if he did a fade, it was never like a go route. I mean, they're doing go routes with him. It's a quick catch throw with Aaron Rodgers. It was never like a deep go route. Like, I mean, this year, they had 9 touchdowns of 25 yards or more, right? And that's something that Devonte Adams has never done in his career. I think he even still has like some of his highest yards per completion that he had. So it was a totally different role that he had. I mean, it was not the same thing that he did in Green Bay. You can even, if you go look at the target depth that he had in Green Bay and then he had in Las Vegas, totally different. So he was used in a totally different aspect. And, that had a lot to play into it too as well. Because, yeah, you can talk about the completion percentage inside, but if he's not running these option routes, I mean, because let's keep it real. I'm going to keep it real. They have a play called Haas Z Juke. Okay. And they have 3 players on this team that are all choice routes experts. Darren Waller runs an awesome choice route, right? Hunter Renfrow runs a pretty damn good choice route. Devonte Adams runs a damn good choice route. Okay. Now you have these guys. They could have literally, me personally, if they're going to run a play over and over, they could have ran that play over and over and just switched those guys every single play. And they could have ate up a lot of teams because they could have moved guys around and did things, and kind of got some easy completions, but they want to make everything, kind of high difficulty. And that's what I was talking about you need a '90s quarterback to kind of do these high difficulty throws. I mean, that's real. I mean, you're going to need a guy who's comes from that era where quarterbacks used to hang in the pocket a little bit longer. They used to be able to maneuver in there a little bit, and a lot of these guys aren't built like that. So unless he has a plan to build around the skill set of another quarterback, it's going to be interesting to see what he does going forward.
But it's also BS because you need an awesome offensive line to execute that kind of offense. You need the kind of offensive line where you can stand in the pocket and deliver, And think back to when Derek Carr was throwing all these fakes, all these go balls, back with Crabtree and Cooper in 2016. He had that offensive line where he had the protection. He had the time. He's not going to duck out of the pocket every play and turn every play into like some Herculean effort where it's like, fading away and trying to cross his body in order to make things happen. Like, that's not his game. I completely agree with you. Like, if he has to do that every single time, he's not going to look very good. Yeah. He's gonna have some good games where it's like, wow, Derek Carr, we need to see more out of him. But like 7 times that, it's gonna be like Derek Carr sucked that game, right? If that's what you're asking him to do, you're asking him to make plays on the run, right? So he needs to be able to stand in the pocket. They did not give him the offensive line, and if the way that the offensive line looked this year, you're not getting a veteran quarterback to come over here and play behind this offensive line. Period. It's not gonna happen. So. I don't know what the plan was on the offensive line. I don't know where they went with this, but it makes no sense, and you can't do this. I don't care. I don't care about standing in the pocket. You have to be like 6'9", 290 pounds standing in the pocket behind this offensive line.
I mean, yeah, 100%. But it's. Yeah, man, it's just a bad situation right now, and it's gonna be interesting how this happens going forward because they're gonna have to, they're gonna have to build up the offensive line for the next quarterback too. They're gonna have to fix this interior. They got Colt Miller. Do they keep Illuminor? I mean, are they gonna get rid of every single Gruden guy? We haven't even talked about that. We haven't talked about Darren Waller, how he got benched a little bit. I mean, he only played 21 snaps this past game. Nobody's really asked why he would play 21 snaps. He's getting benched earlier in the season. Like, what does he think of Darren Waller? Is he getting traded? Hunter Renfrow looked like he was playing a lot more snaps than Darren Waller. So, are they going to re-sign Frost Monroe, let Darren Waller go? Like, what is their plan there? It's a lot of holes here because, even like fan favorites like Nate Hobbs, guys like that, they're all Gruden guys, right? And they've been on Gruden guy exodus, like it's Divine Diablo. Like what has happens with him, this could be interesting, man. It's bigger than just Derek Carr at this point because there's so many holes in this team. You got to try to figure out what's going forward and see.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree with you. I mean, if we want to talk about the defensive side of the ball, yeah, like secondary is looking terrible at this point. By the end of the year, Meek Robertson is the Raiders' best defensive back. Okay, guys, like let that sink in. Okay, like he's barely making some squads. Let's keep it a buck. Let's be honest with ourselves. Like he is a substitutional player in the NFL. Like he's the kind of guy that you want just to be like a matchup player if they got a little, shifty wide receiver that's a coverage problem and you put him in the nickel and he follows that guy around. Like that's what Amik Robertson is. He shouldn't be your best cover corner. Okay. So the fact that is who the guy who's making the most consistent in coverage and making the most plays just shows you how bereft of skill that this group is. Sam Webb has some talent. Nate Hobbs has a lot of talent, but just like not doing much with it on the back end. And then Trayvon Merrick this year, he was a little bit of a disappointment. I thought he would take a lot bigger of a step. I know that he got banged up, but everyone's hurt in the NFL. Like you have to play through injury. So if you're out there between the white lines, like they're gonna expect you to make plays. You can't be like, oh, I would have made that play if I wasn't hurt, right? Like no. If you're out there, you got to make plays, right? So,
yeah.
And we know everyone's hurt, so it's not an excuse for Trayvon Merrick. And so I would have really, I'm a little discouraged. I'm a little worried at Trayvon Merrick's play. I'm feeling like Is he going to be a guy who's just kind of like there? He's just kind of like out there. He's not an impact player, because that's kind of my concern about Trayvon Merrick at this point. And then going kind of like settling in on Nate Hobbs. His ability to play man coverage is suspect. It was suspect last year. He had very little time in man coverage, so we didn't really see it get like he wasn't like getting beat every single game, but we saw it this year from the time that he came back from his injury on, like he was getting roasted. Okay. So you could say, oh, well, he came back from his injury. Well, he had a lot of time off too. Like a lot of guys are playing the entire season, and he has a lot of time fresh off his feet and, doing rehab and stuff like that. So when you come back from an injury, you should be a little fresher than the guys who are playing 10 weeks straight at that point, or whatever it was. So for Nate Hobbs to come back from the injury and then be worse and get roasted in man coverage, he is still a question mark. We cannot say, oh, at least we have Nate Hobbs. We can't say that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be interesting, man, to see how all this whole dynamic pulls out, man, because there's so many holes in this team. So they got a lot of things to fill. And, like I said, the interior offensive line has to be the first for any quarterback, because that's the worst thing you can have is interior pressure. And it was there all year. I know there's a lot of detractors that want to say the offensive line was good or whatever. I see some people trying to say, is the O-line or whatever justified or whatever. But I mean, it's clearly on tape. I mean, Dylan Parham, it is bad what is happening to him. I mean, he's been playing left guard. He's supposed to be playing right guard. Could he play center? I mean, they got to get a new center. It's gonna be wild, man. It's gonna be a wild off season with all these moves, and see what they're gonna do and how they're gonna make these certain moves. And they got to set up for the next quarterback to be successful. We just don't know who that quarterback's going to be, and I'm just a little terrified of who he's going to pick if they can't get Tom Brady, because we all know they're going to go after Tom Brady first, right? They're going to find out if Tom Brady really likes Josh McDaniels, which, in my opinion, he wasn't in his documentary, so that kind of says a lot about it. But we'll find out, right? Because I know that's probably part of.
We'll find out.
We'll find out, right? And that's part of their plan. But after that, I mean, it's gonna be a wild card. I mean, because I think they're gonna be in flux. Because to be honest, we don't know for sure how much Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels wanted to move forward. Like, was it in their plans? I mean, Vic talked about that they were planning on starting Derek Carr this week, right? And so there might be in flux too. They might be in trouble. They might be trying to figure out, trying to scramble right now, trying to figure out what they're going to do next year, because I mean, they don't have that much time.
There's no way. When you look at the way this roster is, there is no way they were counting on adding a quarterback and trying to figure out quarterback too. Like, there's too many holes. If you lose quarterback, you add that too. Like, that's a death blow for Ziegler. Ziegler would have to be the greatest GM ever to pull this roster from the dumps if you also give up the quarterback. Because it's like the quarterback, is quarterback elite? No, he's not an elite quarterback. But you have so many players who are like bottom of the barrel, low level, barely making an NFL roster players in major starting positions down the stretch. Okay, we saw Roderick Teamer and Sam Webb and Isaiah Polamau and Tyler Hall. Who are these people? Like, if you are just a random person coming into this stream and watching this, you're going to be like, who the hell are these players? They're not NFL players, right? So that's what you're going to be saying if you heard about that. Like, those are the players who are playing major minutes for the Raiders, okay? Who's the linebacker? Okay.
Darren
Masterson. Luke Masterson. He's out there. Okay. Cleveland Ferrell. I got Cleveland Ferrell. Clips of Cleveland Ferrell out there playing linebacker for the Raiders. Like, that's how low they were in talent. That they just were like, all right, well, got to make it work with the game day roster. I guess Clee get some snaps in linebacker this week. Makes no sense. Like, really? Like, so that's what they're working with talent-wise. You cannot convince me that any part of their plan was to replace the quarterback as well. Because then what did they do?
That's what when I read that Vic, I was like, oh man, they're in flux. I mean, they're probably like just going through their scatter reports.
What did McDaniels say? What did Ziegler say? They said, this team's ready to rock. It was a rare opportunity. They just went to the playoffs last year. We're ready to roll. Like we got something going here. Like they didn't intend to come in here and tear everything down. They didn't intend to do that. So so like if they do have to move on from Carr for whatever reason, because they end up making that determination that he wasn't good enough in this offense, or because Mark Davis goes in and says, "Hey, I want to move in a different direction." Las Vegas Raiders need a fresh start at quarterback, whatever the reason is. Okay, if they do end up doing that, I think that they are. I agree with you. They are going to be scrambling big time, and the rest of this roster is too much in flux to be looking for a quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, they are in scramble mode. I mean, because let's keep it real. If Mark Davis benched Derek Carr, I mean, it's pretty much over. So, I mean, that was a decision made. It's like Jim Irsay. Jim Irsay comes in there and says Matt Ryan's not playing. I think, Matt Ryan wasn't going to play. He just like Jim Irsay might hire Jeff Saturday, which is going to be hilarious if he does that, because he might. There's been rumors about that he might do that. And that's kind of happens sometimes when you get an owner that gets kind of in control too much. But because it would have been better if Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler got to naturally make this decision naturally. They got to the offseason. They had a plan about who they're going to replace, or, some trade factors in here. But I mean, if they were just like, just chilling, they're like, oh yeah, let's try to beat the 49ers first before we get there. And then Mark Davis is in the room and is like, you need to get rid of him. They're because Josh McDaniels did look a little flustered, man. He looked like he didn't want to be up there telling that. Like he just had a tough conversation with Derek that he wasn't really prepared to have yet. It's like one of those things where you have the boss and they tell you to fire somebody. I don't know if you ever fire somebody, but like they think that boss is like, you got to do it. You're like, man, why I got to do it, right? And then you got to go in there and talk to them and be like, hey, yeah, man, yeah, it's not gonna work out. It's probably the awkwardness, but that's part of the business. So it is what it is.
Usually, you got to have someone from HR in there,
the HR guy.
Got like, hey, where's the HR guy? Bring him in to the office here real quick.
Hold up, bro. Crazy.
Before you take lunch.
So, hey man, this
will be quick. It'll be quick.
Grab all your stuff. Yeah, man. So yeah. I mean, that's it's kind of how I went down. I imagine, because I mean, like Derek Carr left. That must have been kind of a shock, a little kind of thing for him, like to leave and stuff like that, and then a little bit of the aftermath of it. But hey, man, we still got 2 games left, BD. We still got 2 games left. We didn't even really.
No, season's over. I'm not doing it. What? This is the last time you gonna see me. You gonna be on your own, Marcus. I'll send you my Vox Media check. All right, next 2 weeks.
you send me your review from the house. Like, you break it down.
Huddle.
Break it down.
I'll put it on Huddle for you.
Break it down on Huddle for me. It's like, I got it, man. I got it. I got the people. I got
it. No. All right. So yeah, I'll give it the good college try, and I'll be in there for the next 2 weeks here. We'll do it. We'll actually do a review. A little bit more important. So,
you got any questions? Anybody got any questions in here?
I did see a question. So while I'm scrolling for it, if you have a question in the chat, go ahead and put it there.
Yeah.
We had a question here. Hold on, I'll find it.
I do want to say I'm getting Will Levis up. I got him up in the membership. I got 48 minutes of Will Levis. So TDL's already got the content for you guys. I'm already here. I was ready for the draft content. You know what I'm saying? So, But
all right, so here we got 2 questions. One for you, one's for me. These are $2 questions. All right, so hey, Pepe Le Biden. Okay, that's a very creepy screenshot there. That thumbnail for you. Okay, but he's asking you what is the biggest upside of the offense. He's also asking me biggest upside of the defense. So go ahead, go first, Marcus.
Colton Miller is mine. I thought Colton Miller really, really took a next step, man. I think he is a stud. He shut down Alex Highsmith. Do we even hear about Alex Highsmith last week? shut him down, shut down Matt Judon. I think Josh Uche got him a couple times, but Uche comes out fresh. Uche don't play the run. He comes out fresh. He just comes out and just rushes the passer a little bit. So he had a little struggle with that, but he shut down Judon. He is a stud, and he adjusted to how they wanted to play. They had him do a little different technique where he has to, kind of watch the guard a little bit and has to get his hands in. He was struggling a little bit early trying to get his hands back inside, but he adjusted, man, and he is a stud. That's a Pro Bowler. I really thought he should have made the Pro Bowl just because Orlando Brown made it, and Orlando Brown is not good. So, but he probably is my biggest upside for this season. I think, man, I think he'll probably get a second deal if they don't mess around with him. I think he's a stud, and they got to build the offensive line around him. That means they got to put some good players around him. I think Parham still has upside. I still believe in Dylan Parham. I just don't, saying that's why the coaching staff bothers me. He's like, why is he still at left guard? Why are you watching him get abused? And just so what do you what is the film session like? What do they talk about in the film session with him? I want to watch the film session with Brasillo and Parham and just watching him struggle at left guard. He's played. When I saw he had a 99 pass blocking efficiency at right guard in college, I was done. I was freaked out. I almost broke my computer. So if they could build around Colton Miller, we hear about the offensive line, how great they are, and everybody's, oh my God, it's really because Colton Miller and Lunar is playing really well too, but I don't know how they feel about him. They might like Mumford and try to bring Mumford up, but Colton Miller is a stud. That's all I gotta say. He's awesome, great player, definitely. John Gruden hit on that one. I still would probably rather have Derwin James, but he's a good concession stand. He's a good concession.
Yeah. Right. He play left tackle for you for maybe 10 years. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's what you want from your first round left tackle. So if it works out like that, that's pretty valuable. It's pretty valuable right there. Mm-hmm. So that is a good thing to hear. That's a building block. That's a building block.
100%.
Quarterback, left tackle, those are building blocks on offense. On defense, we're going back to Peplo Biden's creepy avatar here. He's asking about defense. I'm gonna get that out of there. So what are the cornerstone positions on defense then? Pass rusher, cover corner.
Yeah.
Right. Raiders got pass rusher, even though last 3 weeks, Max Crosby's kind of hasn't played it at his best. Right. Yeah. We haven't seen the same Max Crosby that we saw from weeks 1 through 10.
Yeah.
But that being said, we know what we got with Max Crosby. Raiders are very happy with Max Crosby. So that's obviously the biggest upside, right? That's the most important player on the defense going forward. But what about corner? We already talked about Nate Hop struggling. Robertson, that could be a guy that this going forward, this staff uses. But again, that's just a positional piece. So it's unfortunate that I can tell I can't look at you with a straight face and tell you any Matthew Butler or Neil Farrell played incredible. I can't Divine Diablo, he struggled. Denzel Perryman took a step back. I don't know what to tell you guys. Sorry, Peplo Biden. I don't got anything else for you. Max Crosby, and that's it, unfortunately.
Yeah, man. Hey. Mac. You could build around Max, I guess, right?
Yeah, they're gonna have to. That's the only option.
That's all they got. That's what I was talking about, man. This defense, because people don't understand how this secondary is probably get completely revamped. I don't know. People are going to be in shock this offseason. That's going to be the thing too. Is that they've added in the quarterback, right? But man, it's going to be interesting, these holes they got. So we'll see how this goes. Yeah. All right. Any other questions we got? Any other questions?
I got an interesting one for you. It's going back. Michael Lopez. He wants to know, was Leatherwood really that bad? Was he really that bad?
See, that's a good question. Was he? Was John Simpson that bad? Because to me, I'm still a little bothered about the whole Darren Waller thing. I know some people made excuses when I brought this up on Twitter, that maybe they were holding him out because Derek Carr doesn't like him or whatever. Come on, man. You have Foster Moreau and you have Darren Waller, and you come out after half of Darren Waller's been balling all game, and the first pass you throw is to Foster Moreau. You're telling me like there's something there. There's like a benching, or he's been demoted. He's the backup tight end, guys. And I don't know how I feel about that. That your evaluation is that he's the Y tight end. He's the guy who comes in, doesn't play a lot, but if you want to throw it to him, at 12 personnel, we might put him in there for a couple snaps. Like that, Darren Waller shouldn't be used like that, and that's when it comes to personnel and stuff like that. Like, why was it Alex Leatherwood just moved and decided to guard? Right? Like, problem solved. Like,
there's something about these guys that they don't like. That's what it is. They don't like the people. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's probably Darren Waller doing that turf toe video while he's on IR, man. So, pedal to the metal. He's so hard he's got turf toe. You know what I'm saying? That music video, bro. They were irked. They're irked by that music video. I could bet, man. He came out there and got 21 snaps. Balling. I mean, he was wide open all game, just balling. He's just catching the ball. Adjusted the ball in the air. You're like, you know what? I like Foster Moreau.
Wow.
So sometimes I'm just like, man, what are we doing here? It's going to be interesting going forward because you got Darren Waller. You're mad because Darren Waller's doing comeback stories.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's a lot. I think maybe hopefully we can get like a 30 for 30 one day and someone can go behind the scenes and find out what McDaniels' beef was with all these guys and why these guys got cut and why these guys got, like he said, again, came in, opening day press conference, got a rare opportunity here. We could really hit the road running, just made the playoffs last year, and then cuts everyone. So I don't get it.
Everybody gone. All the Gruden guys. That's what I'm saying. Nobody Gruden guy is safe. No Gruden guy is safe, guys. Let's keep it real. If you are a Gruden grinder, you better watch your back because they've all been.
It's a personality thing. It's with Leatherwood, it's with Simpson, it's with Abram. They didn't like the way that these guys were in the locker room, whatever it is. They have a certain idea about how they want people to come to work and how they want to behave at work. And if you don't do that, you're not playing for them. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, which goes back to who the quarterback is going to be. Like I saw somebody bring up Anthony Richardson. He's like, well, he's got a lot of tattoos and he gets cornrows. It's going to be interesting.
McDaniels not cool though.
Why do you got all those tattoos and cornrows for? You know what I mean? Like, so it's gonna be interesting to see how that goes with how they pick a quarterback. Because there is a guy that fits the mold that you're talking about, BD, the community man, the one you want your daughter.
Stop saying the Georgia quarterback. Stop saying that.
I was gonna go here. I was gonna go Will Levis. Let's talk about Will Levis.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank goodness. All right. We'll leave us at least. Maybe there's a chance there. Maybe.
Oh, you're not ready for the Mac Jones for Stetson Bennett battle, bro? You're not ready for that?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Battle for the starting quarterback. Oh man, he's a winner, bro. Just let him win. We got We got 2 games left. College football. We got 2 games left. Stetson Bennett could put some great tape out there. What if he outduels CJ Stroud, bro?
Yeah, he would for sure. In McDaniels' offense, Alex Barrs outdueled John Simpson in a McDaniels' offense. Okay, all right. Anything could happen.
All right. Stetson Bennett, man.
Okay,
it might work. You never know. He could do those on read. He's tough.
Doug Flutie would start over Lamar Jackson in a Josh McDaniels offense. Okay.
Well, yeah, Lamar Jackson couldn't tweet, man. That's the thing. Lamar Jackson tweets too much. He'd be like tweeting at women and stuff. He like replies to women. Like, damn. Like he'd be trying to like. You ever follow him on Twitter? It's crazy the stuff he be tweeting. I'm like, man, you be tweeting some crazy stuff for a quarterback. So for me to think that, imagine Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I still think he was mad about Devonte, saying that he liking that Baldy tweet. because he came out. He was like, Josh Jacobs deserved the ball more than anybody else. I was like, what does that mean? Like, right after he liked the tweet, that was kind of interesting comment. Yeah, especially not after giving Josh the ball. Like I feel like that was backhanded. Yeah, because we didn't go over the review, but I just last thing we'll say before we get out of here. I would say this, BD. They were playing 4 linebackers on the field. They had 9 in the box, and you have Darren Waller. You just did it. There's no exposing him, and then they're like giving up the edge. It was just like, come on, man, it was just bad. I'm tired of it. I was tired. Any other questions before we get out of here, man?
That didn't look like anything.
Nothing.
No other questions here.
Anybody mad at us, trolling us, telling them they're crazy?
No, I didn't see that. Hey, you guys are agreeable today.
You guys are agreeable today. Yes. All right. So it's time. Like I said.
Oh yeah. We'll do a separate one. Hey Michael, we just wanted to get some Carr stuff off our chests here, and the season's over. There's like, what am I going to show you? I'm going to show you these guys sucking, and then they're all going to get cut next year. But I'll do it. I'll put one out there. There, Michael. I understand what you're saying, bro.
Yeah. Maybe I'll still do a Carfax. People ask me about it. Maybe I could do like the end, the last one. To put some like epic music to it, like put some like dramatic music. Make it like somber. So people were sad today, man.
There was some heartfelt. That song they do. That song they do with the animals who are up for adoption. In the arms of an angel, or whatever that is. I feel like I used that joke once before on this.
Yeah, man.
On this channel, but
somber,
that's what it'll be for the Carfax.
Do the last interception like slow motion, kind of just
right.
Show the end.
It slowly fades to black.
Slowly fades to black at the end. It's over.
Yeah. You gotta put your Carfax up on like an archive and YouTube and put it in the vault. Only bring out the Carfax, once every couple of years, for the members, something like that. Yeah.
Now I got to come up with a new name. Is the leave it to Levis or something? I don't know. Let's come up with something. The Jones of the week.
Yeah.
The Mac Attack.
Right.
I don't know, man. We'll figure it out.
The Mac Attack.
The Mac Attack. The Mac Attack. You know what I'm saying?
It'll be Mac Jones for sure.
Man, yeah, man. All right, guys. We're out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'll be getting that Will Levis up. If you are a member or you want to join, go check that out. I got 48 minutes of Will Levis straight up breakdown against Florida. You can make your own opinions based on mine. Then, really keep the draft stuff going. You know what I'm saying? This is what we do. It's taped online. It's a whole off season. We're going to be right here for you guys with all that good stuff, free agency, all that stuff. And, of course, we'll try to struggle through this 49ers game. Hopefully, maybe Jarrett Stidham throws 300 yards. Maybe he'll go out there and just ball. You know what I'm saying? Maybe just there's something that they were hiding. And maybe. Or we might see Chase Garbers, which I might actually, that will bother me too much. You see some little Chase Garbers, man. You know what I'm saying? See what Chase could do.
I need to start watching quarterbacks this year. That sucks. I hate watching college quarterbacks. It's the worst position for me.
Oh yeah, man.
I hate that. Yeah, it's too tedious. It's too tedious. You watch wide receiver, you're just watching like, come on.
And it's too totally different sports. It's weird. It's a different sport. It really is. It's just based on the hashes and stuff like that. Like it's just like the Herndon Hooker offense. Like he comes in, but he's throwing like outside the numbers and they're like spread out. They run these crazy routes. So these guys get like wide open all the time. So yeah, it's just different sport. It's
completely different. Yeah, it's completely different. Yeah, you'll see like some weird offense, and you're seeing something that you never seen before, and they're just like doing it the entire game. It's just like this does not translate at all.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't at all.
So yeah.
All right, guys, we're out of here. Thanks for listening. We'll see you. Peace.